I got to a point where I couldn't do this anymore. And I realized, because I am very self-aware, I realized that I was becoming that control freak again. I was clinging to control every specific outcome that I wanted. And I got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. So I told God, I surrender. I honestly can't do this anymore. Jesus, you take the lead. I'll just follow because I am exhausted. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the Awakened Entrepreneur Show. This is Juan Galan, your host, and we're back for another solo episode. And today we're going to be talking about one of the things that I have struggled the most for my entire life, and that is letting go of control. Not just in business, but in life, relationships, love, money, absolutely everything. This episode is for the perfectionist in you, the overthinker, the overachiever, and for the version of you who clings on to plans and timelines and ideas of how things should go. Because deep down inside, you're afraid to know what happens if you let go. But I want to offer you something radically different today, something that changed everything for me. And this is called the Law of Detachment and the life-changing power of surrender. I'm going to be very real with you. I've spent years trying to control absolutely everything in my life. You could say that I was a control freak. Again, this is something that I've been working heavily, doing my inner work for years. But I used to try to micromanage every aspect of my business, sales, growth, launch results, and also every relationship dynamic. Because I honestly thought that control meant safety. And I'm pretty sure that that's exactly why you cling on to control as well. Being in control makes you believe that you are safe. But that is completely the opposite of what happens. Control creates resistance, and I'm gonna talk more about this in a bit, but I want to share with you something that I have realized. And as humans, we attach to people and to objects and to things. Yes, we do. But more than that, we attach ourselves to outcomes, the stories our mind creates. For example, you meet someone that you really like, you have this connection, this chemistry, and automatically your brain starts creating this movie inside of your head of what's going to happen between you two, where this relationship is going to go, how this person is going to be a part of your life. And again, that is your brain looking for safety because it sees control as safety. Or you launch a new product or a new offer, and automatically your brain starts thinking about all the sales you're going to make, all the recognition you're going to get, how fast are you going to scale it. But then when things don't go exactly as you plan, when this relationship was not really a relationship, it was just something you made up in your mind, but this launch failed because of XYZ, we suffer because we've attached our identity and safety to a specific outcome, which means attachment equals suffering. Because let me tell you that most of the times things won't go exactly as you plan. And if you're not allowing yourself to be volatile and be more in flow, you will suffer. And what I didn't realize for many years is that control is the opposite of trust. Trying to control everything, you're literally telling yourself, I don't trust. I don't trust in life. I don't trust in divine timing. I don't trust in God. I don't trust in anything. And from the energy of distrust, everything starts feeling very hard. You create resistance, you start gripping, you feel disconnected and anxious. And that's exactly what happened to me recently. As you know, I came back to Barcelona a couple of months ago, and coming from Bali with this whole new identity where I had completely surrendered my life to God, coming back to Barcelona, there was this clash between my new and my old identity. And that clash made me start gripping again two things for control. So for example, I met someone and I created this movie in my mind about all the things that could happen between us. And I attached my self-worth to this person's behaviors and reactions, and also my happiness and fulfillment to a specific outcome between us two. Obviously, things that didn't work out, and it made me feel really, really bad. And this also happened in my business, where, as you might know or not know, I pivoted. I launched a new program. At the beginning, it went really well. So again, I got attached to the idea of this successful program where I was going to be getting tons of new clients every month, increasing my revenue. I even made the bold declaration that I was going to increase my revenue by 5x this year. And I attached myself again to that idea. Guess what? Things aren't going as I planned, and I was suffering. So a lot of things accumulated or collapsed at the same time. And I got to a point where I couldn't do this anymore. And I realized, because I am very self-aware, that I was becoming that control freak again. I was clinging to control and to every specific outcome that I wanted. And I got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. So I told God, God, I surrender. I honestly can't do this anymore. Jesus, you take the lead. I'll just follow because I am exhausted. So I gave up the fight. I gave up the timeline, and I gave up the story that I was forcing. And right there, something shifted. I felt this huge relief once again, because when I surrendered, I created space. And in that space, I started to feel peace again. Clarity returned. And funny enough, opportunities started flowing again. Because surrender is not weakness, it's power, it's trust in the purest form. And now let's talk about the law of detachment. In metaphysical terms, and you know I'm a metaphysical freak, the law of detachment teaches that the more you let go of how things must happen, the more we align with the infinite intelligence that already knows the way. We align with God's divine plan for our lives in every area. And detachment doesn't mean that you stop caring, because think about it this way. The highest version of you is not chasing, it's not begging, it's not wondering. They are becoming. And you cannot attract what you're desperate to control. Detachment is not indifference. Detachment is also power. It's saying, I choose to feel full now, regardless of whether it comes or not. When you detach, your intentions stay strong, your faith is anchored, but your grip is loosened. And this is echoed even in scripture. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Jesus is teaching you surrender. Jesus is teaching you presence. And Jesus is teaching you to trust in provision and in divine timing. Now, let me share with you a few of the things that have helped me in this journey of surrendering and detachment. The first thing I do is I journal every single morning. And part of this journaling is asking myself, what am I gripping onto today and what can I release? And there's always something, even the tiniest little thing that you might not be aware of, that you're trying to control. So practicing this every single day is also a great way of rewiring your subconscious mind around control and teaching it how to really release, surrender, and to trust. Number two is I still visualize everything I desire. I don't think there's nothing wrong with visualization. I think that my desires are good and they were put in my heart by God. But what I do after visualizing is I remember, I say this out loud, this or something better in divine timing. Again, I am visualizing, I'm putting the intention out there and I'm telling God, God, if this is meant to happen, make it happen, this or better, but in your time. And then, of course, I keep taking inspired action. I have plans, I have goals, I have objectives, and I know what I need to do to get there, right? That is under my control. I can control the actions that I take. What I cannot control is the outcome. That is God's job, not mine. So I'm still gonna show up. I'm still gonna do everything I feel I need to do in terms of my business. When it comes to relationships, be yourself. Show up. If you want to send a text, send that text, but don't have expectations on the other person's reaction. Focus on what you can control in a healthy way, of course, and then release everything else. Don't force the result. And of course, the last step is to trust God or the universe or your higher power, but let Him take the lead, because I've learned that control is heavy. Trust is light, and you can't be both at once. So if you're in a season where you feel stuck, like things aren't flowing, I want you to ask yourself honestly the following questions. Where am I trying to force? Where am I gripping too tightly? where have I stopped trusting? Because your biggest breakthrough is not going to come from forcing or controlling more. It's going to come from letting go, from releasing the outcome, from remembering who you are beyond what you achieve, and from returning to truth, that you are always guided, that you are always supported, and that you don't have to carry it all alone. So, friend, if this message resonated with you today, I created a powerful workbook to go along with it. It's called the Surrender Practice. Inside, I will guide you through releasing control patterns and creating a ritual that anchors you in peace, presence, and trust. As always, you will find it in the show notes of the episode, on the description if you're watching on YouTube. And if you want to take this work deeper, you can book a free visibility call with me. This is a safe space for us to explore what's keeping you stuck and what would life look like if you were to rise to the next level. Again, the link is in the description and in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate it on your favorite podcast platform. If you think it's worth a 5-star, give it 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who might need to hear this today. And friend, thank you so much for trusting me in your journey. I love you, and I will see you next week with another episode. Bye.